Hey, what's going on, guys? Hex coming back in today with a brand new video. And as always, down the top below, that's all we're talking about today. And I've been wanting to make this video ever since I've watched the first original Steins Gate. And yes, I need to catch up on the new one. I am actually just one episode behind. I need to watch the new one that just came out. I just caught up yesterday, but yeah, I didn't get the video out yesterday. Just a heads up, FYI, FYI. But what series did it better? What show did Studio White Fox do best? And the answer is, I don't think Studio White Fox did anything best, but I think that one show just was slightly better written, per se. And as I always say, in any video, I ever make, I always say that the characters are the most important part of any story, and it doesn't matter how good your plot is, if you don't have at least a decent supporting cast, and or cast in general to support the main narrative, then it's never going to matter to begin with. And that's what I think goes towards ReZero, hands down. Now let me explain. Why not just start off with the two main characters, Kiyoma and or Akabi, whatever you like to call him. He's a character that is a good character, and we do get to at least understand him, and I guess you could even say we get to project ourselves on him, right? Because we know what he's going through, and we see why he makes the decisions, he makes based off of the things that have happened to him in the present day. But now let's hop over to Subaru and what he has that Kiyoma simply does not, the best character in Steins Gate, per se. Now, Subaru is a character we can not only project on and understand, he's a character we know on a deeper level. We know why he is who he is. We know why his actions are what they are because he goes into detail. Steins Gate does not have an episode that is as good as episode 18. Don't fool yourself. If you truly do love literature and you truly do love Steins Gate and you do like what ReZero did, let's just face the fact that episode 18 was that good. It was one of the best episodes of anime of all time. Let's just put that out there right now. That's a simple fact, as long as you're someone who's not biased towards other shows and likes the show ReZero and is just being open and honest with yourself. Let's just face the facts. Episode 18 was one of the best ever episodes of having a character rise themselves and tell us about their features, and also I guess even develop, for that matter. So we know Subaru is who he is because he thinks, he's a shut-in NEET. He's played these kind of games, but then he faces reality. This isn't a game. He's someone who remembers love isn't something that's just supposed to be possessive. It's supposed to be something that is between two people, and you can't force your love onto someone. So that's why he acts the way he does with Emilia. As for Kiyoma, why does Kiyoma do anything he does? Why does he act the way he does, outside of stressing and not knowing what to do because of the things he's faced? But what is his true characterization? Explain why Kiyoma is who he is, outside of, the simple reason that he went through a lot and now he's starting to shut down towards the end of the show. Why is Kiyoma who he is? Because I know why Subaru is who he is, so tell me. I think the biggest thing about all of this is the simple fact that, let's look at the supporting characters. Rim. Who is the Rim of Steins Gate? There is no Rim. There's not really any Rims in any show. There's not a ton of good female characters. If I truly think about it, there are not a lot of good female characters in shows, because usually the main character is a male, and that's what the primary focus is on. You know what I mean? So you think about that. There are good female characters, but there's just not a lot truly well-written ones. And Rim is one of those special occasions. That's why she's able to sell. That's why so many people are attached to her, and she's able to sell enough to just make it season 2 of an anime in general by herself due to merchandise sales and so on and so forth. But Rim is a character that not only elevates our main character Subaru, which she most definitely does, she's someone who forces that characterization out of him. She's someone who forces that character development out of him, and once again that shows in episode not only 18, one of the best episodes of anime I've ever seen, but also right around episode 8 or 9 to whenever Subaru finds out Rim is actually his killer. So put that in perspective whenever you think of these characters. Who is the Rim of Steins Gate? If anyone is even close, to being a as well-written character as Rim in Steins Gate alone, that would be the best written character in the series, which is Kiyoma. And Subaru is on another level than Rim, so think about that. Now, if we hop onto something else, I think we really got to think about the show, the narrative, what the story is about, and how does that affect the characters. Now, I think the narrative, once again, the way, Subaru has a checkpoint. If he dies, he restarts. If he dies, he restarts. If he dies, he restarts, which is something that's not in his control. As for Kiyoma, he gets to decide when he puts on the headgear and goes back in time. If I look at the narrative in and by itself, Subaru has no control if he dies, because it's that kind of world. It's a dangerous world to where he's the weakest person there. And if we really look at, Steins Gate, Kiyoma is the strongest person in this world, because he can control time, and he's the only one that can remember. And that's something that gives it a huge up, on other series, ReZero. And that's because you don't know what can happen. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when that next checkpoint is going to be. So from a psychological standpoint, it goes to ReZero, and that's why Subaru is such a good character, because of that checkpoint and because the dangerous things in the world and being the weakest one. Kiyoma, it's not as much as a threat per se, because Kiyoma is the strongest being in this world, because he can control time and he can remember what's happened in the past. So that's something you got to put into perspective. But before I do actually forget, don't forget about Amelia and all this. She hasn't really gotten her true time to shine, but she has had her moments. And, even her, I would say, is better than all the other cats of Steins Gate outside of Kiyoma, if I'm really looking at it. So there's a lot of secrets there. We haven't even gotten to unlock her true potential and how well she actually is written yet. So we do got to put that into perspective. So whenever I look at these two shows and the things I've presented to you, it's not me shitting on Steins Gate at all, but it's me looking at the big picture. It's me looking at the writing. Once again, characterization, development, what the story does for the characters, and the suspense that, hey, I don't know what necessarily is going to happen next. Steins Gate is a show that's more along the lines of, I don't necessarily know how he's going to fix it, but I kind of got an idea what he can do here. Since, from the beginning, soon in the beginning of the show simply just basically states kind of like, D-emails are the key to all this, and that is true. The emails are the key, and then he finally has that one last mission he has to do with Kurisu. But then with ReZero, once again, we don't know. We don't know how he's going to get past this next level. We don't know how he's going to get past this next boss. And the biggest question of all, which is one of the biggest keys in any show, is the what, the hows, the whys. And Subaru is that. Why does, Kiyoma have Steiner? I don't know. He's just blessed. That's basically kind of what Steins Gate sort of kind of tells us. But why is Subaru in this world? Why is a normal human being from another world in this world? And why is he supposedly the sin of pride? Is he that sin of pride? Is he from this world? What if I told you Subaru was always from this world? And I'll end the video there. What if he was? I said that in the video before. What if he was from that world? The questions, what the story does for the characters, what the characters do for the characters, what how well written the show is in general. It's just not as, I guess, plain per se. And I'm not saying Steins Gate is plain, because it's not, because it is hard to wrap your head around some things, but I just don't know what's going to happen next compared to the I sometimes have an idea is just not as thrilling per se. And they are thriller series, and they do thrill. Now, I think Steins Gate Zero is going to be better than the other Steins Gate, because it's going to flesh out that Kiyoma and/or Okabe that we love so much. They're going to flesh out the man that says El Sai Kongro so much, hardening of the mind. But now we see his mind's in shambles. So Steins Gate Zero, I see something there, because it's going to be more about Kiyoma and more about fleshing out his character, giving him characterization and development. And that's why ReZero is so good. That's why Subaru Nagatsuki is one of the best written characters in anime. You can project on him, you can understand him, to a T, not just what he's going through, but who he is as a person. We understand why he does what he does, and the development's awesome. And that's why I think Steins Gate Zero is setting up, Kiyoma 4. So what if I told you, man? What if I told you Subaru was always from this world? I don't know. But the questions just keep coming with this show. For what I hear, it's basically a prologue. So hey, we're not even to the meat and potatoes yet. We're not even to the best of the best. And ReZero is a show that's, if you see a show like that, every 3 years, one time every 3 years, then you kind of take a step back and say, wow. But that's my case. That's the case I've made. If you disagree, then I dare you to try to battle me out in the comments. I'll be checking them out for this video. But as always, guys, you guys have been hexed. Be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, X25, and check my Patreon if you guys like what I do here, and help me make this a career. That's in the description below. Link will be there, provided. But hey, What do you think?